Tapping in.
Are we live?
Man.
Sir.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yo, Miles Xavier, recommended and review. We are getting to mine and your favorite album, man. Starting off this series of us reviewing classical things, classical movies, classical music, all of that stuff. Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z.
Don't get more classic. It really don't.
Don't.
It really don't. Now, this album means a lot to me, right? So it's hard to even do highlights, lowlights. This album really to me was like one of the first pieces of media, things from outside the home that was like a directional compass in terms of like, man, I want to be like that. You know what I mean? Something that was different, something that I had never heard before. And I can get into why in a little bit, but thoughts, man. What are your thoughts on this album? I know, as you acknowledge, it mean a lot to you. Why is that?
Yeah. I mean, for one, I think both of us have this ranked as our number one favorite album on our top albums list. I think this is one for us. And I think there's something to say about the time in his life. I think the Jay-Z's first album dropped when he was 25. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Reasonable dropped when he was 25. A lot of people don't know that. This is 25 when he dropped his first album. And
June 25th, 1996.
1996. That particular moment in where Jay-Z was in his life, his lyricism, as he said, he acknowledges this being his best album because he says he wrote that for that album was being written his whole life, you know. And so even just the time luxury that he had to be able to put what he did into that, the producers that are there, to me that's like the Bible of rap. If in terms of lessons and things learned, that's the Bible of rap for me.
Yeah, lessons is an important part of it. I think for me, you know, there was something about the emphasis on like being intelligent, you know, and being entrepreneurial and that being cool. You know what I mean? Like I feel like hip hop has always given us mixed messages on academia, right? When it comes to reading, when it comes to what it means to be real, right? And how that interplays with intellectual pursuits and specifically academic pursuits. Hip hop itself, rap itself is an intellectual pursuit. But it's interesting to like, yeah, man, to me, what just stood out was like just being a kid that was searching for something, you know, not purposefully, but I think that was so much more ready to identify with something that was like, nah, being smart is the way. You want to be as smart as possible. You want to be able to think about, you know, multiple different scenarios. You want to, you know, and what comes with that is a heaviness that comes with trying to think your way into a better position, right? And I think just the acknowledgement of all of those things that I was formulating as a young kid when I stumbled upon this album around, you know, maybe like when I first time I really heard it, because it came out when I was like 2 years old, bro. But like when I first really heard it, I was probably around 14, 15.
Yeah, you caught it early. You caught it very early.
Yeah, man. There was just something about this is different. This is elegant. This is gentleman-like, right? Even in its bravado. And there was something about that I felt seen as somebody who didn't want to be, you know, necessarily a gangster, who didn't want to be necessarily like the most braggadocious person, and to identify with somebody who was affirming, yes, read, stimulate your mind, think about different, you know, ways to get to diversify your skills and your opportunities. And it was like, man, this is a game on a different level. And I felt that while I was still loving the Get Rich or Die Tryings, while I was still loving, you know, the stuff that was coming out at this time, this stood above that. And it's carried with me my whole life. I still listen to this album to be reminded of game, to be put back in that mode of being an observer of all of my own the chessboard of life, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really what this album drives home, sonically, lyrically, in spirit. And so, Yeah, it's if you can't tell, I like it. I rocks with it. I got it
Yeah.
on
So
vinyl.
overall, you like it?
MP3s. Yes, 5 mics for me. 5 mics for me. If I gotta go with some highlights, I gotta go with "Can't Knock the Hustle," which is the intro track. Love that song. Like just the fact that like Mary J. Blige is on that joint is amazing. That is timeless hip hop. "Can't Knock the Hustle," "Feeling It," "Politics as Usual," "Brooklyn's Finest." Those are my top. The whole album is stacked. So I'm leaving out
Dead
"Can I Live" and a
Presidents.
whole bunch of amazing things. "Dead Presidents," yes, for sure. But I wanted to leave some pieces for you to call out. You know what I'm saying? So what are your highlights?
This is one of those albums where literally the you I don't listen to it in pieces. You know, it's you once explained this album as being that very expensive whiskey that you have. It's your favorite whiskey, but you don't drink it all the time. But when you do, you pour yourself a glass as an occasion, and that's how I treat this album. Literally top to bottom. Dead Presidents, of course. I mean, we're talking about a track that later every rapper who is making a statement on their best like rap capabilities. Like if you're trying to make a statement and be like, okay, this is I'm about to write what I think is the best that I can write. You're doing it to Dead Presidents. Like that is the beat that you are going to be displaying your finest writing capabilities. You have Cole, who's got Dead Presidents first. You got Miles, who's got a Dead Presidents first. You got there's I have
You definitely have a
I
David
don't.
President
I
first
don't.
in
I
the
actually
talk.
don't. I
You
do not.
definitely
I
do.
promise I don't. I've been very scared. I saw what you did and I was like, I clearly I can't do better than that. So I'm not gonna try.
Drop maker. Do we have mark this timestamp? We'll come back to this when the Dead Presidents freestyle drops. We're gonna mark this moment.
Oh
Ain't
man, oh
got no
man.
Dead Presidents.
Five
But no,
mics.
man, I think
5 mics.
yeah, 5 mics all the way. Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z. Yeah, man, this is one for the history books.
Yeah.
Go check it out. That's a heavily recommend. If it was ever a recommend and review that we recommend to you, it's definitely Reasonable Doubt, man. Go
It's
ahead and
grown
check it
man
out.
rap. It's grown man
Yeah.
rap. It's so mature. The sound, it's as you said, it's elegant. It's suave. It's insightful. It's gangster. It's a movie. There's skits. There's just so much to it, and then the game that comes from it. I think the angst of being the angst of being a misunderstood black man is just portrayed so perfectly. I think Nip said it best when he said, "No, he a genius. He just can't explain it because no, he a genius. He just can't claim it because they left him no platforms to explain it." Like that sentiment encapsulates what I feel and what these men rap about.
Word, 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 man. There ain't nothing else to say about it,
Five,
man.
five,
Reasonable Doubt,
five
man.
mics. 5 mics.
Yo,
Boom.
it's one of those things where it's like, yo, even 25 years later, as we celebrate the 25th anniversary, that holds up. That's a crazy amount of time to think about, man. 20 that these records were made, dropped 25 years ago, and sound like this.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.